Good morning. Good morning, guys. Morning. Sal Galvin here. Top tips on creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children. So, good morning, guys. Welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to what I'm about to delve into. So, hi, Jan. Hi, guys. Jump on. So this is going to be quite interactive. I have got some cool stuff that I really want to get through, but ask questions and I'll do my best. So put in some comments so I know you're watching and ask questions. So, and I will do my best. And if I can't answer them live, then I'm going to go and research and I will get back to you. So what I'm covering today is by popular demand. I've actually had quite a lot of people ask me, mummies and some daddies, which I think is pretty cool, ask me about my top tips on creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children reach their full potential. So I didn't just jump straight on and smash into it because I really wanted to do some research on it. So I have been... it's from my own experience, but this is a topic that I'm really passionate about, and I have done quite a lot of research on it. So I have spoken and interviewed a lot of mums, good mums, bad mums, a lot of dads, good dads, bad dads. I've also done some research on some of the main leaders in this, and some one-on-one talking with, and really picked their brains on the leaders in the research of this, grounded, resilient kids, and Maggie Dent, and I've done a lot of Madonna King's study as well. So these guys have some great online training and copious amounts of best-selling books. So these are just Australian girls, and there's people in America and there's people in Europe as well. There are that many tools online. Morning, Karen. So just put a comment in there so I know you guys are watching, and make this interactive. So ask questions. So welcome to my kitchen this morning. So see my coffee machine? Well, this is the real coffee machine, and that's my 6-year-old's coffee machine. He made it at school for me. And sometimes it's a coffee machine and sometimes it's a computer. So depending on where the imagination's going, I think that's pretty gold. So morning, mate. Morning. So Sal's I've got 7 tips. So I could have done 25 tips or 35 tips. I could have kept going. But morning, Sarah. Morning, Courtney. Chuck in your, pop your comments in the box there so I know you guys are watching and I know, if I can help any of you guys. But what I'm really covering is, morning, Luce. Chuck a comment in the box, guys, so I know, sometimes it's not this clean, yeah? So I know, guys are watching. So, Sal's 7 top tips on creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children. I have, like I said, I've been doing a lot of research in it, and I've come up with 7 top tips. So my shoot from the hip, no bullshit approach is, I could have delved into 35, but my shoot from the hip, no bullshit approach is something that I think a lot of parenting workshops, because there's just so much to it. There is no handbook on how to bring up our kids. And what I'm going to say to you guys here is no, rule of thumb, it's no hard and fast rule. Everybody's different, okay? And every child's different. So all I'm doing is telling you what's working for me. And I'm not telling you to impress you. I'm telling you to impress upon you that, have a crack. See if it works. And if it does, let me know. It's also based on a lot of research. So my favorite mentor in the parenting side is Common Sense Parenting, Maggie Dent. And I've been doing a bit of work with her lately, which is pretty cool. Another one is Madonna King. And then you can just Google parenting. And oh my God, there is so much. Good, bad, and everything in between. So I have interviewed and studied some great parents, and I've interviewed and studied some bad parents, and I've come up with these 7 top tips. So first of all, I really wanted to really share with you guys, actually, just really quickly in a nutshell, why I am so passionate about this is because my mum, I was lucky enough to have a mother that really did instill, she really made us grounded, us 4 girls. So she's a real high achiever. Her family are high achievers. Her sister played Wimbledon. Her mother was a high achiever. Her father was a high achiever. in Africa. Yeah, you guys, any of you that know my story. And she always taught us from a young age, doesn't matter how good you get or how good you think you are, make sure you keep 2 feet on the ground and you stay grounded, because then you've got nowhere to fall. And I think that was really sound advice. So grounded to me is to keep both feet on the ground. And I feel like grounded, resilient, and well-adjusted all need to go together. Today I'm going to delve deep into the resilience side of things, but the grounded is keeping both feet on the ground. And then my other side of the family, my father's side, are from farmers. Like, farmers are really, like, from a farming background, they're pretty grounded people because they have to be, yeah? Doesn't matter how good you get, if you keep both feet on the ground, you've got nowhere to go, nowhere to fall. So grounded is important. Resilient I'm going to delve into, and well-adjusted. So well-adjusted is the part where I like to describe that or explain that as when you're traveling through life and there's different situations coming, those people that always just seem to be able to adjust to every situation and get the best out of every situation? So that's well-adjusted. So it doesn't matter what happens to you, you can readjust, reassess, improvise, adapt, and overcome. So that's one of the things that runs in the back of my mind all the time. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. So to be well-adjusted. So be steadfast in your goal, but be flexible in your approach. So that's another one you guys are getting. Oh, and another one too, if you want one, what goes on in the back of my brain all the time is, to be flexible and you're never bent out of shape. So you guys have got some... These are some of the mantras that run on the back of my head, so you get a little bit of an insight into Sal's head. Anyway, bit too early for that in the morning. So I have a cup of tea here because there's a fair bit to cover. So grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children. Maggie Dent says, resilience refers to the ability to successfully manage life, to adapt to change and overcome stressful events in life in healthy, constructive ways. So that's Maggie's definition of it, and I think that's pretty sound. Madonna King's another one. She believes that resilience in children is the ability to bounce back from negative and positive situations or experiences, life experiences. I thought that was really interesting. So we always think of resilience as the ability to bounce back after a negative. But I like the way Madonna King runs in, and she says it's actually from the positive as well. So it's the ability to center and ground ourselves. So I'm going to cover top tips in a minute, like just in a sec, 7 top tips on getting our kids to be more resilient. Giving our kids a toolkit to set them up in life so that they have good resilience in their life. My definition of resilience, it's the same as the others, but I like to think of it, resilience, as when shit hits you, right? When shit hits, as life does. Like, life has some wonderful events, but shit happens in life. Like, there are some bad things that happen in life. So when shit hits us, it's not, when shit, can you hear one of my babies crying out there? Oh my gosh, school holidays. Okay, so when shit hits us, as at this wonderful life, it slides off instead of sticking. So when shit hits us, if we are resilient, it will slide off. Well, not all of it, but some of it. So instead of piling up and up and up. So when this bit of shit hits us, it sticks, and this bit of shit hits us, it sticks, and all the shit hits us, and like we become overwhelmed. So when shit hits us, it slides off if we are resilient. If it builds up and builds up and builds up and our resilience is low, then it drags us down and our children down. So when we are under a pile of shit, our anxiety levels increase. Okay, so I don't know if that's any more straight shooting than that, but when shit hits us, if we are resilient, it slides off, and if we aren't, then it sticks. So that leads me to anxiety. Everybody, that's the pop word at the moment. Morning, you guys. Pop a comment in the bottom so I know who's watching, because I actually don't. Just numbers are coming up on the screen. So anxiety. Anxiety is the pop word that everybody is using at this present moment. And we're talking about anxious children and, increasing our anxiety levels and suffering from anxiety. It's becoming a bit of a pop word. So like a disease, the anxiety disease, is that what's going to be coming next? And like, it's a real issue. It is a real issue, especially like in first world countries. And I truly believe that if we can arm our children with the tools to be grounded, resilient, and well-adjusted, they can manage their anxiety levels or their anxiousness. So they are aware of when they're anxious, they can recenter, reset with some tools that I'm going to give you, and continue on to be the best that they can be. So, rule number 1. Not rule, they're not rules. Oh my God, that's the wrong word. They are tips. Top tip from Sal. And your rule number 1, and it's as straight as you get, good nutrition. Don't feed your kids rubbish. Don't feed them shit. If a child's body is not working at optimum, if a child is getting full of sugar, full of process, everybody knows, I don't need to go and preach exactly what you need to be feeding your children. Most parents know what's good and what's bad. You can have treats, but treats don't need to be the norm. So good nutrition. So it doesn't matter what we do for the rest of this. You can put everything else in place, but if the child's mind isn't operating at optimum, they can't think straight, and nothing else will work. So good nutrition. Bottles, jars, packets, as little as possible. I know we're in a busy lifestyle. Everybody's busy. And sometimes I use bottles as well. Sometimes I use jars as well, but I try really hard not to. So it's as simple as if you can buy it raw and you can cook it or serve it raw, like meat, proper veggies, proper salads. If you can buy it, prepare it, cook it, serve it, or serve it raw. Not raw chicken, I don't think that'll work, but it's as simple as that. Good nutrition, good whole, old-fashioned whole foods nutrition. So you don't need to get too technical about it. Just if it's processed and if it's in a bottle or a jar or a tub, apart from yogurt, it is processed. So, and it's not good for them. It's not good for them all the time. So good nutrition, number 1. Second tip for creating resilient kids. So the first 3 are really general parenting, and then the next 4 is specific for resilience. And I can't do them all without covering these first 3, because like I said, if you do the last 4 and not the first 3, it just doesn't work. So the second tip from me for creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted kids is a safe, nurturing family circle. So this can be from your mum and your dad, or it can be from, like the primary caregiver. It doesn't really matter. But we want our children to stand on their own and be independent. That's ultimately where we want them, isn't it? So if you know yourself, if our children go out and, like our toddlers go out into the backyard, or our teenagers go out and do what teenagers do, if they always know that somebody's got their back, if they always know that they can come home to a caring, nurturing, safe family circle unit, if they always know that their mum and dad or their primary caregiver has got their back, then it gives them the confidence to go out and explore. So safe family circle. Morning, guys. Morning. Jump on, pop your comments in so I know who's watching. Yes, safe family circle. I think that is one of that's the second top tip. So safe family circle, just make sure your kids know that you've got their back and that you love them. And the way you do that is becoming present with your kids. So it's not spending every single second with them. It's actually the time you do spend with them, make sure they know that you're the center of their universe. It's, that's powerful. I've covered that in another live, but to be present with your children, that's how they equate love. To be on your phone or be thought elsewhere about the work you need to do or the work you have done or the dinner you need to cook isn't being present. So you don't need to be present all the time, or we wouldn't be at all productive, we're all busy. But to be present with your children is how you show love. And the second tip, like I said, is safe, nurturing family circles. So that's tip number 2, guys. Right, cup of tea time while my voice still goes. Tip number 3. This is a cool one, this one. So tip number 3 for creating resilient kids. And like, I got 4 boys, right? And they're pretty wild boys. They are active, they are high energy. And if I didn't set clear boundaries on what I was expecting of my kids, then things would be bonkers. So clear boundaries is tip number 3. Need to be able to make yourself aware, like become aware as a parent of your core values, in life and what you think are clear boundaries. So my kids have got, like, it's a bit bigger space than that, but they have got a space. So in there, boys, you go wild. But come up to one of these boundaries or step over one of these boundaries and you'll suffer the repercussions. So this one here is a tricky one, but I think it's a very powerful one. Our children need to know where they are allowed to run amok in or live in and where they're not. So set your boundaries and stick to them and make sure they're clear. If they're not clear, then your children don't know one day they can do this and the next day they can't. So clear boundaries is a really important thing. An example is, like an example with my boys. So a clear boundary when our boys were toddlers, it really used to set me off when kids would come up to you screaming instead of asking for stuff, or grunting and pointing. When they're just toddlers and they're starting to talk, and they can talk, but they might choose not to because for whatever reason, I don't know, but they all just choose not to. So one of the things that used to set me right off was kids screaming and pulling and this is just for me, right? This doesn't have to be for everybody, but this is an example. So a clear boundary for me was the kids needed to get my attention and then use their words. So I used to stop what I was doing and I used to get down right next to them and into them and say, use your words, darling, use your words. And even if they attempted to use their words instead of grunting and screaming or pulling, which, I would get whatever they needed to get then. So the kids quickly realised that was a clear boundary. Don't scream at mum, don't pull at mum, and don't grunt. The teenager grunts now a bit, but the young boys, when they were toddlers, they learnt very quickly to use their words to get stuff. So that was a clear boundary, and I was really strict on that. My 13-year-old now, 13's a great age. I friggin' love 13. I really, really genuinely do. It's like having another adult with a whole another perspective on things in the house. I really love it. But 13 comes with, its own challenges. Anybody else out there got teenagers? One of my clear boundaries with that is no devices in the bedroom after 8. So that's a clear boundary. He knows that his phone and iPad need to be plugged in the kitchen, at 8 o'clock. Because then it's bedtime or knock off time or read a book time or something else time. That's a clear boundary and it's a non-negotiable. So just because it's a different day of the week or just because mum's somewhere else, it needs to be done, regardless. And step over that boundary and repercussions. So mum had clear boundaries for us. Oh my God, didn't she ever? So as a teenager, I would nudge quite up as close as I could to those boundaries and see if I could push them a bit. And I knew those ones that were completely non-negotiable. And I just stayed in the safe space because it's important. It's very important. So you don't want to be Adolf Hitler and run a Nazi camp. Sometimes I need to be careful with that. And I need to bring fun into it. I don't need to fight every single battle. Choose your battles. But set clear boundaries and stick to them. You'll find things will run easier. So you guys are probably already all doing this and you've probably already heard this, but sometimes it's nice to be reminded. So clear boundaries is an important one. And I was going to say something else on that. Just set your clear boundaries and stick to them. All right, number 3. So now number 4, this is one that's more specific to resilient kids, creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children. So number 4 is plenty of play. Plenty of outdoor activity and play off devices. I'm going to say it again. Plenty of outdoor activity, play off devices. I think a lot of us And I definitely do slip into that safe, easy parenting, where we've got these babysitters that are called iPhones and iPads and televisions. And time runs away on us while we're doing the things that we need to do. And our kids are getting babysat at all ages, so toddlers all the way up to teenagers, on their devices. We know where they are, we know that they are safe, but the importance of play at all ages is it's paramount. We learn life skills, we learn resilience building skills in play. And I cannot implore enough to get your children outside. So like wild animals, if you look at any of those African, or even puppies, lion cubs, they all play. They play with their mums. And or their dads, and the reason they play is because it builds life skills. It teaches them the skills in play when it's not as serious as the real world. It teaches them those life skills to survive in the real world. And it's the same with humans. So do you remember as a kid, playing all those groovy, those great games you used to play? Like we used to play mums and dads and doctors and nurses, and we used to play cattle farmers, and we used to play horses. Any of you guys played horses before? Any of you girls? We used to play all those, that really got your imagination going. And what they are really doing is setting you up your life skills for your resilience training for when you grow up. You learn those things in play, like I just said before. You learn how to have conflict and resolve it, but in play. So it's really important. Get your kids outside. If it's raining, put a rain jacket on them. If it's cold, put a jumper on them. If it's hot, put a hat and sun cream and some long sleeve shirts on them. There's no reason for kids to be inside all the time. My mum used to say it all the time, outside. And my boys or my nieces and nephews, they come to me at about 10, 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, I'm bored. And I say, you can use this one. My mum taught it to us. Only boring people get bored, darling. And if you want to stay in here, I've got some jobs for you. They're outside, they're gone like that. No devices, outside play. It's really important. It is paramount. So, number 4, that was. All right, 3 more to go. Stay tuned because they're pretty cool. They get better and better. Okay, number 5, resilient training for children tip. Number 5. Now, this is a touchy one. I'm going to get as straight shooting as I can with this without upsetting everybody. Don't overparent. I think in today's society, I don't know if you guys... I don't know if you guys comment on this one. Everybody's got their opinion on over-parenting or parenting. Everybody's got their parenting opinion. So take a load off yourself and don't judge other people, number 1, because it really lets the pressure off you. And just have a really good think at whether you are or whether you aren't. And it's different for every person. Every child, every person, everything is different. So, but I think the key here is to be aware of it. Aware of the importance of not over-parenting. So Maggie Dent says, modern life has created an environment where intensive parenting has become more of the norm. Whilst protecting our children is obviously a parent's prime responsibility, that's our job, to protect our kids, overprotecting them from the normal bumps, bruises and scun knees might be what's weakening their resilience. So overprotecting our children, not letting them fall over and learn to get back up again, might be what is causing our children to be less resilient. So I know I'm speaking from experience, it's very easy to stop your children from any adverse things. And obviously you need to do that, that's just basic common sense, but sometimes you actually need to let them fail. And if you let them fail at a younger age on something that they're not good at, I just always think of your eldest. My eldest is not good at time management. And time management to me is utmost, and to my husband as well. We have got lots of things to do. But time management for him, he's pretty crazy. So I let him fail. I let him be late. I have to catch myself because I want to help him all the time, but I am really aware that if he fails now and suffers the consequences, then he's going to learn how to readjust and become more organised and use his time wisely so that he builds his own resilience for later life when it is really important. So mum's not going to be there to hold his hand all the time. I think that's the key. I don't know if you guys agree. If you don't, tell me, because I would love to hear everybody's idea on it, but don't overparent. Let your kids fall down, dust themselves off and get back up. That is resilience training. Like you fail your way to success, don't you? Anybody that's successful in any area in their life has mucked up a few times now, haven't they? Nobody gets it right first time. So be really aware of your overparenting, because I think that is one of the key factors of our reduced resilience levels in kids. So kids are becoming more anxious today because they are not as resilient. And I believe that one of the top tips, everyone is as important as the other, but one of them is that people overparent. And like I'm speaking to the converted, all you guys are on watching a live about parenting. So you are aware and you are interested and you take interest in parenting. So there's a lot of people out there that might need to, take a bit of interest in their parenting. But, and take it a bit seriously, because it's actually the most important thing you do in your life. Well, that's what I believe. So don't overparent, guys. Number 5. All right, number 6, and this is one of my hot topics. Number 6, mindfulness or mind fitness. Mindfulness and mind fitness is my favourite because it's been a game changer for me. And I believe if we can arm our children with the tools they need to learn to control and centre and ground their mind when when shit happens, then they are streaks ahead of where I was when I was a young girl. I don't know about you guys, but if we can grow our children's brains, our children's minds, if we can arm them with the tools to grow their minds themselves, to be flexible, strong, then they won't get bent out of shape as easily. They're more resilient. Yeah? And it's as easy as, so if we can calm and center and still the mind when it's off on the negative or when it's off on the positive, when it is in instability, if we can restable it, if we can even attempt to restable it, like your streaks ahead. So I don't know if you guys have ever used any of these mind, fitness jobs, but it's not tools or techniques. There's thousands of them online, okay? And you can get apps and there's a whole lot, but I don't want to overcomplicate things. I think that mind fitness in our children, I like mind fitness because it just sounds more update, less woo-woo than mindfulness or meditation. So Maggie just covers 3 breaths. She just does that 3 times. Breathes in the good, breathes out the bad. I do it myself, and I teach our 4 boys to do it. So sometimes they do it once, sometimes they do it 3 times. Just breathe in the good stuff, breathe out the bad. Simple as that. And it centers your brain. Flood your body with oxygen so it can reorganize and refire and everything properly again. And it also is a trigger to recenter and still your mind. So teach kids it. I have, and it has completely been a game changer. Mindfulness in children is so exciting that it's becoming, paramount, and it needs to be. This is one of my big pushes, is to come into our education system. So one of the lives and some interviews I've done before with Julie Bollenbroke and Jacqueline Cookle and Mindfulness Australia, they ran a program at this local school that has had really high, naughty kids. really high levels of expulsion and suspension. And since they've introduced this mindfulness program, it has made a big difference. It's been the game changer for them. So why can't we use it on all of our kids? I really implore you guys to have a crack and just teach kids some mindfulness. So to create a strong, flexible mind, it's going to help them with resilience, isn't it? And resilience training. So number 6 is my favorite. It's really been a big game changer for me in these last 12 months. Okay, number 7, last one. So I've covered this in quite detail, guys, but number 7 is the best one. And I leave the best for last because I think you guys know what I'm going to say, because I say it all the time, but the most important aspect of creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children, or just good common sense parenting, is lead by example. I'm going to say it again. The most important thing about creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children is to lead by example. Because 100% of the time our children do what we do at some stage in their life. 100% of the time our children do what we do at some stage. They often do what we say, but not always. But they always do what we do. So if you want your children to be resilient, you want your children to be grounded, you want your children to be well adjusted, of course we do. We all want the best for our kids. The game changer is you need to be doing it yourself. So if you are feeding your children good food, but you're eating shit, it's just bullshit. You need to change that. It's simple. If you have got clear boundaries for your children, but there's no clear boundaries for yourself, like you keep crossing your own moral, ethical boundaries, your children know that. And that's just bullshit. If you are on your devices all the time and you're telling your children to hop off them, I've covered this before. If you are plenty of play, if you are on your devices or don't move enough or don't do any sort of physical exercise, your children are going to watch that. And they're going to do the same. Our children are an extension of our own beliefs, really. They really are. And mind fitness. If you guys are practicing, this was definitely when our whole dynamics of our family changed, was when I really put some focus into mind fitness, because it was really an area of mine that I was lacking in. And so what I do, our children follow. And it's been a real game changer in the dynamics and the way our family work, because from mindfulness, I've become more aware of my own self and the effects I have on the rest of the family. So you really need to lead by example. It's the most important step, actually. So if you guys are really passionate, like I am, about creating grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children, your own children, any other children that you come into contact with, have a crack at those 7 tips. And if you think that anybody else could benefit from them, then share it on. I hope you guys are it's so great. Thanks so much for coming and watching and listening. I think I really am passionate about this, because my goal, okay, now it's a big goal, and my obligation is to create grounded, resilient, well-adjusted children using more tips than that, but they're the top ones. Reach their full potential, because when they grow up, they become grounded, resilient, well-adjusted adults, and they bring their children up the same way. So, and then the ripple effect, it's just mind-blowing. And so that is my obligation, and that is why I'm stepping so far out my comfort zone and working really hard on this. So you guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to pop them down in the comments below so you can, just have them on a checklist. But I really implore you to have a crack at them. They're important. And see where it goes. Let me know, because I really want to know. So email me hop on, personal message me. I'll do my best. Oh, well, I'll definitely get back to you, and I'll do my best to help you guys if I can. All right. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now.